Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to ArmsportVideos and another face-off. I'm Scott McGinnis from ArmsportVideos.
Rick Pinkney from Nova Scotia Armwrestling.
Today, we got on tap, we're going to talk about the King's move. Whether you love it or hate it, takes up a lot of time and a lot of reactions. So I take it by those thumbs down, you're against the King's move?
That is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in sport.
Is it? As long as they're doing it within the rules, what's the problem?
There's no...
George Zakowicz has made a career.
George Zakowicz did not drop below the table.
I never said anything about drop. I'm just talking about the King's move.
George Zakowicz was always here like this.
Yeah?
I don't mind that.
Okay.
It's when people are down here. Hello? Hello? Where'd you go? That's what I got a problem
man, you're
with.
lucky you could stand up
I
again.
know. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to get down there because I didn't know if I was getting back up. That is ugly with a capital U. It's terrible for the sport. Terrible.
There's nothing wrong with the King's move as long as the rules are applied properly.
There's not one organization that allows it.
They all allow it as long as the rules are applied properly.
That's what I mean. They allow it, but there's not one organization that has the rules that uses rules that say you're allowed to do this. They all say if you drop below the table, unless, I guess it could be a couple down the state somewhere that allow it, that change the rules to allow it. But it's ugly. Oh my Lord.
There's been a couple of matches that I'll agree. There was one out in the UAL, I think, Mac Telly.
That was the ugliest match I've ever seen in my life.
I know, both guys on their knees and nobody was calling it.
But you know what? Devin and Chafee was bad too.
Devin and Chafee, that was an ugly move. But George Zakowicz, Michael Todd, these guys are incredible defensive pullers.
That's different. I mean, we're getting that. People are kind of exaggerating what the King's move is. To me, the King's move is when they drop their shoulder right down below the table. As long as if you're spread out like this, I'm fine with this. You know what? They call it the King's move, but it's just a defensive top roll position. Yes. That's fine. It's when your shoulder's down below the table, and you're scrounging for change or whatever on the floor.
Then why don't we have referees who can call this? Just call a foul.
Exactly.
Just call a foul.
Exactly, but they won't do it. Even the rules say if you drop down there, call it. And they don't have any idea where center of the table is, because as long as it's at center or off to the losing side, then you call it a foul.
Yes.
If you're down in the losing position, then it's a loss. But they won't do it for some reason. I don't know why, but they won't do it. For some reason, people think this is good to watch. It's ugly to watch, and it's dangerous because people are getting torn biceps now all the time getting into this. If you haven't trained for this and you start doing that, you're going to tear your bicep. And you're just watching them going out.
Because I've heard for years now about Crazy George and his bone lock and his King's
defended
move.
Crazy George all the time with that when we had a message board before Facebook days. I used to defend Crazy George because his shoulder was not down. His shoulder was always up above the pad all the time.
We agree with that on that.
Yeah, but because he was Canadian, the Americans were all over him, going on about his being down below the table. I don't know what video they were watching, but his shoulder was not down below the table. His shoulder was up here. And he was pulling in a legal position. People didn't like it because people couldn't beat him.
Because they can't pin him. But that's all I'm talking, that's all I'm defending. The King's move is not an illegal position.
As long as your shoulder is above the pad, that's fine.
Michael Todd pulls like that.
Then he's fine.
Then his shoulder
but
above.
every now and then his shoulder's down there.
All this hate.
Because for a lot of times it's down below the table.
A lot of times. I just
Devin, their shoulders are down below the table. And now these other guys that are wannabe Michael Todds and wannabe Devin Larratt's, they're doing it and they're getting friggin' hurt. It's like, guys, if you haven't trained to get your arm in this, you think just all of a sudden Devin and Michael just decide they're going to drop down below the table and pull like that without doing any training whatsoever? You're sadly mistaken. They've trained to be in that position, worked hard at that to get in that position. If you're just going to show up to the tournament today and go, I can't beat so-and-so, I'm going to drop down below the table and pull them there, guess what? You're going to be in the hospital because you just tore your bicep off.
Well, either that or if you have referees that actually understand and know the rules, you're just going to be fouled out.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think,
but it's not happening.
Well, it's not happening, but that brings you to a whole different topic of refereeing and guys not knowing the rules and putting the rules in place that are written.
There's a topic we're going to do. Arm wrestlers not knowing the rules. There's a topic. That's our next topic. We're going to be talking about arm wrestlers that don't know the rules. And I'm all over that one.
And
Scott's all in favor of that.
You guys are in trouble now. But that's all we got time for today, folks. I appreciate you tuning in. And for Face Off, I'm Scott McGinnis.
Rick Pickney.
See you next time.